I just harvested this denim from a pair of jeans. It's still thready. After you've harvested your thread, you want to make sure that you're opening these seams. On jeans, it has so much, there's so much fabric. This thing has, like that's a 2 inch, over 2 inches, because then it's got like a half an inch, a half an inch seam allowance, right? And the seams on jeans are so huge. Look at that. You know, that's a huge amount of fabric. So you don't want to just cut off the end. You want to kind of investigate what you're taking apart. And then, so this is a prime example of like thread harvesting for, in case you can't, you're in a situation where there's no thread. Adjust the camera a little bit. So what I've done here is I've removed, obviously I've opened all the seams, right? And now I can see what's left. Now, what I've harvested is here. This is from one pair, but this isn't all of it. I was kind of sloppy. This was kind of experimental almost to see. Now, you can also harvest threads this way. The trick with this, though, is you're going to want to make sure that your weave is lined up so that when you pull, it's one long continuous piece. Otherwise, you're going to have little bits and pieces until you get it. So see how short this one is. And if I just pull it, that's one whole thread, right? So what you'd have to do is get your fabric to a point where it's all on that same, where the weave is all one piece. And the best way to do that is by ripping the fabric. And that way you're going down one line and it's going to be one continuous thread. For the harvesting of the threads here, what I've done is I've taken the serging. Most of the fabric is serged. Let me see if I have anything on these pockets. No, I haven't really done anything with the pockets, but I showed you in the last video that everything is serged here. So here's what serging looks like. So if you're not familiar with serging, so what you do is this thread here is wrapped around, and on here it's just on one single piece, one layer of fabric. So you can't like pull it apart like I did in the last video to get to that center piece that you can just kind of rip through and then pull this off. You have to kind of find that first thread to get it going. On here it would be tricky, because if you pull the wrong one or if you cut the wrong one, forget it. It's just crap. It'll just come off in tiny pieces. And what we're really looking for here is one continuously long piece, at least an arm's length, for sewing, right? So what you do is just go real slow, move with purpose. Don't, just because you think that a seam, if you think that your end where your fabric meets up is only, say, 1/4 of an inch, well, it's not, especially with denim and flannels, apparently. Do I have the flannel here? Where did I put the flannel? Oh, I moved it over here. So how the flannel is, there's a little thing. the flannels are very, you could pull and they're going to come apart, right? So instead of being all serged and everything, what they do is, there is some serging, there's some evidence of it there, which I've already pulled off, and have my little card of thread I've harvested from this flannel somewhere. So they serge it so it doesn't come apart, because it will. It'll just start to unravel. It'll fray. And typically, we don't want that to happen. But if you're thread harvesting, then you do, because you're going to use that thread for something else. But this one also. So they don't just serge these. They have it rolled and fold and sewn multiple times. So here's the collar. Let me see if I can show you I haven't opened this one up, but you could see that the seam is way over here, and I can feel that fabric, that line comes way over here, which means that there's an extra probably inch of fabric in this seam alone. And when you're harvesting fabric, you're harvesting thread, you want every little bit you can. And I even kept these little things. These were around the wrist, I think. And you can see how big this is. Of course, it's all ripped up a little bit stringy. So you can harvest this thread here, even though it's little. But something like this, I'm not really sure what the rule is for like purifying water. But typically what they do is they'll take a piece of fabric, usually I think cotton, something very highly absorbent. There's my bows trying to connect to something. And if you have dirty water, you put one end in the water and it wicks through, and you have another jar of water, an empty jar, and it'll act like a wick, and it'll kind of clean your water, clean all the sediment or whatever, and you'll see the water get clean by going through the fabric being used as a wick, and you'll have cleaner water. Does it take out bacteria and stuff? Probably not. But if you're worried, if you're in a running stream or something and you're worried about mud or any kind of heavy contaminants, this will work to catch those and put it into a clean jar you'd probably still have to boil it afterward, or, I don't know about the bacteria and how you handle that. But, so I'm just saying that even a little strip like this, have a baggie where you can keep things like this, because you can use it later. Here's a sleeve. Let me see. Look at this. This is a lot of fabric in here. That's an inch. That's a solid inch in there, for sure. Oh, pretty close. Yeah. So, I'm just saying, if we find ourselves in a position where we need fabric, and, there's a lot of fabric there. And these fabrics come apart very easily for thread harvesting. And we're going to do something with it. And stay tuned, and we'll see what we make. Come back and see what I make with this the flannel and this denim. I have a stack. I'll show you my haul from the thrift store. I got 5 pair of jeans and 2 flannels. So we're going to see what we can do with it. Come back on the next one and see what I do. See what I make. And happy harvesting, I guess. And like, share, and subscribe, please. Have a beautiful day. Happy crafting. Bye.